that is here tonight, and welcome as we call to order this regularly scheduled meeting of the Jenks Aquarium Authority. Today is Tuesday, May 18th. It is 5:03 p.m. My name is Corey Box, and I'll be your chairman this evening. This is Mr. Brandon Macy, our city clerk, and kindly ask that you verify our attendance, please, sir.
Montgomery, here. Caitlin.
Here.
Murray, here. Rowe,
Here.
OJ,
Here.
Bonds, here. Chair Box.
Here, let the record reflect that all of our members are present, and we will be conducting business on behalf of the Oklahoma Aquarium this evening. Okay, item number one on our business, consideration and appropriate action relating to a request for approval of the consent agenda. Any motions on the consent agenda? We have a proper motion and we have a proper second. Let's vote, please.
Montgomery. Yes. Caitlin.
Yes.
Murray.
Yes.
Rowe,
Yes.
OJ,
Yes.
Bonds,
Yes.
Chair Box.
Yes. Item number two will be pulled. Item number three is a request to approve a lease and operating agreement with Event Network LLC for a gift shop. Who's that?
Thanks, Mayor.
Yes, Mr. Alexopoulos.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thanks, sir.
So, our current gift shop company, Wildlife Trading, which has been our the contract we've been under since we've been open, they are being purchased by another company called Event Network. I don't know if Wildlife Trading Company will exist anymore, and if they are, it's going to be a very in a very limited capacity. Event Network is one of the largest, if not the largest, gift shop retail companies in the industry. They their clients include Georgia Aquarium, Baltimore Aquarium, Tennessee, Florida Aquarium, and Jet Aquarium, and many more. We were toying around with the idea of running the gift shop ourselves, but the numbers just didn't seem to add up, especially if there was going to be a buyout required for the initial capital that Wildlife Trading Company put in. By the time we do that buyout and the payoff for that is going to be a while, and it just doesn't seem to really make a lot of sense. With Event Network, we kind of went into it with basically with them not knowing whether we want to run it ourselves or not. So they were really eager and flexible. So when we gave them, kind of our terms of what we would like to see, the changes that we wish we could have had with Wildlife Trading Company, I don't think there was too much deliberation on them. They were pretty flexible, and some of those changes are to allow us to give us the certain ancillary things that that don't involve employees and doesn't involve labor, such as the penny crushing machine, the photo booth, coin-operated photo booth. That was something we really didn't get much of a cut out of with Wildlife Trading, but Event Network, is agreeing for us to take full control over that. So they're not even going to be a part of that. Those two items. They also agreed to allow us to continue to sell our bracelets and other small items, both at the door and at the feed stands for fundraising, that type of thing. They're planning on doing a considerable facelift to the cafe or to the gift shop. And overall, they're just a much bigger company. They have a lot more buying power. They also, one thing Wildlife Trading Company we went round and round with, unfortunately, was for them to have logos on on the gifts that people were buying, our logos. So they were it was more like a Walmart toy store. You just buy stuff that kind of was related to some aquarium. So this will be a lot more customized, and Event Network will outfit their merchandise with Oklahoma Aquarium on T-shirts and things of that nature. Basically, we'd like to get this moving. The Wildlife Trading Company, like I said, is phasing out, so they're not replenishing their merchandise. So our gift shop is getting pretty lean. It's kind of a fire sale right now. So as soon as we get this approved or what have you, and then we can get hopefully Event Network in there and we can have a new and improved gift shop. Does anybody have any questions?
No, just as a general comment, I like what I saw them do with the Tennessee and Georgia.
Yeah.
We've been to those in the last few years, and those were some of the better ones.
Yeah, I agree, and I just like their, it's just been really easy working with them. It hasn't been a struggle. It's like, well, we would require this, and they're okay. Well, and we require that. Okay. So that's kind of and that's the partnership we have with Party Serve in our cafe. We have a really good partnership with Sig, and he's just, he's here to play and to win. Whatever we need, he's been, steps up to the plate. And I don't think we had quite that relationship with Wildlife Trading Company, but I'm hoping this is the beginning of a change for the better.
When would they actually take over operations?
So it will be June, or is it June or July?
June 15th.
June 15th, yeah, June 15th.
12-year contract?
Yes.
Just a comment, because I'm certainly, I won't be here, and I'm sure we remember what I did, but on the renewal term, it looks like it's kind of an evergreen. You don't tell them it automatically renews 5 years after the initial term. Is that correct?
Is that correct? What do you know on that? Whether
No, both parties, it allows a renewal, but both parties have to actually agree so that they have the intent to renew. So it's an easier renewal, but it's not evergreen.
Okay.
It will not automatically.
So if it's 179 days, and you say, well, it's not automatic 5 more years.
Right.
Okay. I didn't really tell.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
And I think the length of the term is in part because of the capital funds that they're going to have, that they're pledging to put in.
The length of the contract is because the initial contract with Wildlife Trading Company went through was this term because partly due to, the capital improvements that they put in with the storage building and everything, that they use 1/3 of, and the aquarium uses the other 2/3. And that was part of the conversation with Wildlife Trading Company was when they first said that they wanted to assign this lease to Event Network, they were in the process, they were behind on their rent. We were having problems with them, but they made that whole after a conversation about us potentially, kicking them out and taking over the gift shop. But then they said that in their opinion, if we were to take over the gift shop and not allow them to assign it to anyone or not allow them to continue, then they thought based on the contract that they needed to be reimbursed for at least their capital improvements that they made, if not for an actual buyout of their lease agreement. And that's when I think, we looked at Event Network even harder and decided that, going through the trouble of trying to kick Wildlife Trading Company out and take it over ourselves may not be worth the trouble and the money that we may or may not get back in the term of the contract. And
especially going into it in the beginning of summer, that could spell a lot of revenue lost through the summer.
And there's a lot of controls that would have to be put in place. I mean, we'd be purchasing a huge amount of inventory, storing it, and just, but we did explore the opportunity to take it over and just felt that with what an Event Network brings to the table, that there'll be a pretty big improvement in our existing gift shop, and we won't have to take on that additional responsibility.
You said that excuse me, that your inventory is getting low, but this, if this is approved tonight, won't take effect with them until June 15th. Are they in a position to maybe supply you with some stuff before it takes effect, or is that legal, or?
I'm gonna discuss it with Wildlife Trading Company to see what merchandise they still have available. It's probably where I'm gonna start. And
Somewhere I'd hate for us to go to nothing before
Yeah.
they come in and take effect.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if we could have
Yeah.
something still. So.
I believe we'll come to a solution.
Teresa,
Go ahead.
could we, when we take action on this, allow the chairperson to execute the contract June 15th or prior?
Yes, I think you could pass it authorizing an effective date of June 15th or earlier if possible.
And that way,
Yeah,
if they were able to come earlier and get their inventory in place, that would be one option.
sure.
Well, if they're gonna be doing some renovations, then during the renovations, are there still gonna be some, like a little kiosk or something?
We'll make sure, yeah, we're not gonna be.
But the renovations don't happen, I think, until at least a year or two.
Right.
So,
And we can pick a really dead time of year in the darkness of winter.
If you think there's a potential that you need it signed prior to the 15th, just catch me prior to the 9th. I won't be here for a week.
There you go.
Hilton Head,
Non-disclosed.
Hilton Head.
Oh, excellent.
Outerbaits.
Are you, can you tell us with this revenue share compared to WTC, where are we at? Are we doing better?
So, and I'll probably pass it over to Robert, but I think we're about the same with the revenue shares as far as your basic breakdown of gifts sold. Where we come out ahead is the penny cruncher machine is ours completely. And the photo booth as well. Now we'll probably use another company and do a 50% share with another company, but at least we're not second or third in line.
Yeah.
And then the medallion, since it is a piece of merchandise, they are going to keep that, but they're giving us 50% split, which is really all we would hope to get anyhow. So that's a better deal. Strollers, face painting, I believe is going to be the same. And do you have any green screen? They're not sure we're going to do if it's worth the labor. And so they're not 100% on the green screen. But in the contract, I believe, and I may be wrong, Teresa, but I think anything that they bow out of, I believe we have, grounds for discussion, to where we can take it on. We're just leery right now of some of those smaller revenue streams of dedicating personnel to. Once you have labor involved in something like that, it's, we've got so many other things that we really, that have a better payoff by manning, such as the fish feed and all that type of thing. But so we're really relying on them on some of these ancillary things that require labor, such as the green screen or the face painting and that kind of stuff.
Do you or the board or how is the inventory decided? Did the previous company, did they just say, okay, we're going to bring in this, this, and this?
Yeah,
you guys kind of have a say so, like, oh, we really like to see this, this, or this.
Yeah, so in the contract, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe in there, we are able to approve the inventory that they are suggesting. Whether we could or not before, I don't know. We definitely were never openly given the option to. So
if there was something new that you thought, oh, this would be great,
mhm.
you don't know that Wildlife was able to do anything with it?
Well, I can tell you that Wildlife Trading Company, they make a lot of that inventory is stuff that they manufacture themselves. So they're going off a pool of whatever they're making. And So I think that sounds like an advantage, but in their case, I don't think it was. With Event Network, from our understanding and talking to them, they have a much larger buying power, and they get, they get preferential, they basically have first crack at most of the new merchandise is, I guess, what I'm trying to say.
So there's like a catalog that.
I don't know, but
I don't know.
surely there's got to be some form of catalog for us to approve it, or a list or something. We just haven't gotten that far yet, but
Okay.
But in the
There's
contract-
potential, though. That's good.
yeah, in the contract, is that correct?
We have approval of aquarium logoed
Items, but not all
items,
items.
not necessarily all, but there's also assurances that they'll keep adequate inventory, which there really weren't in the wildlife trading contract. So there's,
So you get to say what you like or don't like with it.
Yes,
Okay, that's good.
yes.
Good.
So yeah, and we're going into it with the best intentions, and we're going to try to build a relationship that's as good as some of our other vendors' contracts, and working together. In the past, with prior management of that gift shop, it was difficult to bring them items that we would like for them to sell, because if they didn't make it, or if it wasn't, you could tell that it was there wasn't much thinking outside the box. It seemed pretty cookie cutter, but I'm hoping that there's a lot more flexibility with Event Network, and it sounds like there will be.
Awesome. Thank you.
You bet.
So to the best of your recollection, this revenue share is similar to what we had before? You're comfortable with it?
Yes, currently we have, so the main revenue driver are the net sales of merchandise, and they're subject to tiers. So and it's on a calendar year basis.
This is item number 4 in the packet, gentlemen.
And sales sold up to 600,000 are subject to a revenue share of 10%. 600,000 to 800,000, 14%. Anything above 800,000 is 18%. It's exactly the same structure as wildlife trading.
Okay. And Mr. Avazopoulos, before the current vendor sells everything, there's a hat there with the shark's face. This is Bite Me. I might need one of those to wear. Bite Me.
I think we can
Say
sustain
one
one
of those.
And if they don't have it anymore, I'm sure I can find it.
Maybe you could leave after the meeting here.
That would be the only excuse to wear a hat like that, is that I bought it from the Oklahoma Aquarium.
Sounds
And I
good.
fully support the message.
I like it.
Thank you. Any other questions? Any trustees on the right or the left? Comments? Would you like to make a motion to approve item number 3?
I move to approve.
And
We have a motion and a second.
sorry to interrupt,
Yes,
but could we make the motion to allow the chairperson to execute the contract prior to June 15th if we reach an agreement?
Can we just make sure that as is?
Yes, yes.
I'm sorry, what did you say? We have a motion.
This is,
Motion to approve based on the fact that we could approve it prior to June 15th. As is,
Giving the chair the authority.
giving the chair the authority.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Okay, let's vote.
Montgomery,
Yes.
Kalen.
Yes.
Murray,
Yes.
Rowe,
Yes.
OJ,
Yes.
Bonds,
Yes.
Chair Box.
Yes. Staff report.
So ever since January, it sounds like it's for a lot of venues, but ever since January, we've really, it's like he flipped a switch as far as people coming to the aquarium and our revenue. It's been amazingly positive. We're as far as since January, if I'm not mistaken, we're on track to really best any other year that we've had, even prior to COVID. We're way ahead, as a matter of fact, starting this new year. So we're pretty happy about that. And we've been having some really good reviews, and a lot of the things that we've implemented, some of the revenue generating things like the bull shark ride or the virtual reality rides and the hurricane machine, all of those have just been super successful. The items that we invested money in, such as the bull shark ride and the hurricane simulator, those have long been paid off by the revenue that they've been generating. And then the profit share for the virtual reality ride has just been great. We're one of the top sellers with that company and all other aquariums, us and Mystic, I believe. So they're super pleased with us, you know. And then we have one of the things that we're batting around right now is what to do with the mask mandate for our facility. We've been in close contact with other venues in the greater Tulsa area, such as Philbrook and Tulsa Zoo. We've been, ever since COVID began, we've been in contact, having regular meetings, and just kind of trying to be consistent with all of our messages where it's the same. And so we all had a mask mandate during this whole duration, but now because of the new CDC guidelines and a lot of the mask mandates being lifted, that's been the topic of conversation with other venues. And the consensus is that come June, to lift the mandate or at least to comply with the CDC's recommendations, which is if you've been vaccinated, then you don't have to wear a mask, but we encourage all others to wear masks. So, but then there's been a little bit of back and forth with other institutions in the Tulsa area where there's kind of come to a little bit of a disagreement. Some venues want to be a little sooner than that with their lifting their mask mandate. I think what we want to probably do is keep it until June, and that way we're not kind of we're not lifting the mask mandate before other facilities. I'd rather be kind of in the later, I just think that it just looks better and just to be a little bit more responsible. So that's kind of our plan right now, is come June, unless something changes, that we're going to loosen up on the mask mandate. The new exhibit is going strong. The clownfish exhibit is filtration's done and it's running. Looks really nice. Most of the rock work is done in it. So we should have animals in it pretty soon. I would say in the next 3 to 4 weeks, probably 3 weeks. We should have animals in it. It's gonna be close, trying to get it open in time for the end of June. So we may be into July right now. Due to COVID, we had to kind of cut back on the quantity of personnel in that department. So we were missing we started off really strong and had four people under Phil, but when one of them left, we really weren't able to refill that position because of the way budget just didn't really allow for it. So it's taken a little longer, but it's coming together really well, and it's looking great. It's getting to the point where you can start seeing it, and that's the exciting point. And if anybody wants to come check it out, I'd love to show it to you. It's really something. And then our jellyfish species, all 4 species that we're showing now at the aquarium, we're growing all of them in-house, including those big Pacific nettles, that was like the last hurdle, just to try to get those going. I don't know if you remember me talking about it. We have them going, and we got like hundreds of them now. It's just amazing. I'm not sure where we're gonna put them all, but luckily that tank we're opening is huge because we're gonna fill it. So it's pretty exciting. And then, so does anybody have any questions so far on?
King, I know you can't make that, but are all the employees encouraged to get vaccines, or how's that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we're making like openly, I mean, we're following with the city's guidelines. So
The city has offered through May 31st, 3 hours of leave per shot for employees to go get their vaccine. I know at least at City Hall that seems to have been encouraging people, but I don't know if you have an idea how many people have taken advantage of the aquarium. We aren't. I guess maybe HR knows, but
yeah,
we aren't really tracking that way.
It's hard. You
Yeah.
can't really do that.
I got mine yesterday from a lady that had a 4-inch needle. It hurt. I was like, that thing is huge. That's just what I thought. I was like, that's a very, very long needle for this. And when she got me, she buried it in my arm, and I flinched. And she says, "Yeah, I don't know why they gave us such long needles. The last ones we had were like only this big." And I'm like, oh. So yeah, I got lucky. Let's see.
What about the putt golf deal?
So where we're at with that is we're getting designs together, layouts. It's really coming to shape. The land has been surveyed and the topography has been sent to one of the companies that we're looking into. The company that we're looking into is, believe it or not, also does a lot of exhibits in aquariums. That's actually how I know them. I didn't even know they do putt golf. So they do a lot of theming, fake trees and things of that nature, coral reefs, and other aquariums, but they also do miniature golf. And so we've been working with them to kind of get an initial layout and design and of 2 18-hole courses, so 36 in all, going around the pond. And it's been sharp. It is something else. And each hole, we're trying to make this an educational experience. This is going to be a very unique. If this comes to fruition, it's going to be unlike anything really that I've ever heard of or seen. It's really going to tie into education, into the aquarium. Every single green, which is going to be blue because it's going to be water, has a specific animal that it highlights, or an animal with its environment, and it's very realistic. So it's not a cartoon looking deal. It's lifelike. So every single hole will have, say, this one will be about sharks or dolphins or mantis shrimp or whatever. There's a very long list of animals, by the way. And so it's an experience every time you go to the next hole on what animal are we highlighting, and showing this lifelike, renditions of these animals and obstacles. And then we will have a sign at every single hole that has graphics, educational graphics talking about that environment or that animal along the way. So if you can kind of imagine how that would feel, it's unlike anything that you would see elsewhere. That plus the landscaping. We have some really neat ideas, I think. So yeah, it's a work in progress.
This is not a question for you, it's really for Robert. Where are we in terms of the bonds?
So an email was sent out in April that the bonds are essentially issued and completed. So that process is done. We met the authorities' guardrails, or stayed within the guardrails of nothing less than 606.75 million. We received 7.5 million. Not going beyond 2034, I believe.
2044.
2044. So we stayed 1 year earlier than that. And then the average annual debt service of the new bonds was not to exceed the annual the average annual debt service of the old bonds. And that's the case as well. So that process is complete. So there's $7.5 million at Bank First on the trust side, ready to be allocated and spent.
And
The
the
budget.
other is another trust account for.
Correct.
To
Yeah.
pay off the other bonds.
Correct.
Can you provide, maybe a summary of what the rates were, rate was, and so forth and so on? Because, while I saw that email, it wasn't clear that they had actually issued, and here's what we did. So that would be nice for all of us to have.
And the average interest rate was about 2.5% to issue debt for 24 years. Seems like a fairly reasonable interest rate to pay. And just as a side note, if you're familiar with Greg Nito, who helped us, our financial advisor, he unfortunately passed away due to COVID. So just wanted to kind of pass along that information.
I think you were really not like 2.5%, 2 months.
Thanks.
And you're working on a new or design of a quarantine facility? Or
Yes,
you
yeah,
started
yes.
thinking about the design?
We're working with Greg, and he's putting together right now a preliminary design of the building itself, so we can start plugging in our equipment. So that's what he's working on. We need to know, where all the columns are, and then we need to know the structure of the building basically before we start placing equipment and tanks in a theoretical manner, say using SketchUp program or what have you. So as soon as we get that, then that'll be our template to start adding things.
Make sure that it doesn't deteriorate.
Yeah, it's not going to be made out of paper mache this time.
I figured you'd take that into consideration.
Yeah, that building, I've got a lot of pictures and a lot of memories of putting that thing together in the snow and mud and, hurrying as fast as we could. It was just quite an adventure.
This will be better.
Oh, much better. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Any other questions? I don't want to drag y'all down and talk too much about our events coming up, but if you have any questions about any of them, I believe Lisa is on standby somewhere. She can help you answer any questions about these events more accurately than I would probably.
Nothing else from Mr. Alexopoulos?
Good.
Thank you, sir.
One more thing, sorry.
Yes.
Our sea turtle on exhibit, we swapped him. Our guy has a little cut on his nose, so he is now in shark quarantine and with a Band-Aid. And so we're giving him some antibiotics. It's nothing major. It'll close up and everything will be fine. But it kind of gave us the opportunity to go ahead and swap the animals for a while. So far, so good. He's, the new guy is swimming great, and he looks really calm in there. So it's a pretty good opportunity, I think, right now to swap them. And I think we may just go ahead and keep swapping them every 6 months so that they have a chance to enjoy both. It doesn't do them bad, wrong to kind of have a timeout for several months, and then some excitement for the other guys. So that's kind of, I think, what we're going to end up doing.
Same name.
What's that?
Same name.
No, this one's Spot. You ever watch the Munsters? That's right.
This is the first thing that came to mind.
Of course, he doesn't breathe fire. But with my luck, he probably will start.
Just curious, how do you move them? How do you get them out?
Carefully.
Yeah, they're just dead weight that
Yeah,
struggles.
they're heavy.
And so they're about 300 pounds. And what we do is,
So you don't use a crane and put them on a sled or anything?
well, no, we usually, we have an apparatus. It's like a big metal hoop that has like a basket in it, so to speak. And it's harder to move them from shark quarantine to the exhibit because there's no shifting area. So you've got people in the water trying to force this turtle that doesn't want to be cooperating to the edge where you can get underneath them with this hoop and then lift him up and over the edge of the tank. It's difficult. It's just heavy, as you can imagine. And, but from the exhibit to the quarantine, it's much easier because you have that shifting area, that shallow area where he comes and he's contained, and much easier on the back. And that's
Yeah, the only thing you do is you keep your hands away from his head.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
yeah, you don't want to. Well, we usually put a wet towel over there
Yeah.
and cover its eyes and everything. A little more calm that way.
Oh.
But then you basically just put them dry in the van. But we usually put thick neoprene foam on the floor of the van, so he's not like on a hard surface. So it's a lot more comfortable. And then you just drive them to wherever. Yeah, you can move them cross country like that as long as you keep them moist, keep them wet. All right, now you know what we do.
No, I was just thinking it'd be kind of cool if we had like a tunnel. We could just, open up this gate and let them swim through.
Turtle tunnel.
Yeah.
I'll get right on that.
Just add to your file.
Okay.
Do that before you retire.
That's right. That's pretty good. All right, good. Thank
Anyone
you,
else?
guys.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
A motion and a second to adjourn. Let's vote, please.
Montgomery,
Yes.
Galen,
Yes.
Murray,
Yes.
Rowe,
Yes.
OJ,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Chair Box.
Adjourned